Like, was there any political lesson you think there is to take from an administration whose central goal was to stop Donald Trump's return? And here we are.
And he stopped it.
I mean, you stopped it and enabled, I think some would argue.
Well, when the white vote turned out 71% 2 years ago, and the black vote turned out 59%, you tell me whose fault that is.
I guess
only 59% of African Americans went to the polls 2 years ago.
It's tough for me personally to blame black voters for the last election more than it is to blame President Joe Biden.
That's the fact. It wasn't Joe Biden on the ticket. It was Kamala Harris on the ticket.
For 107 days after he decided
Kamala Harris on the ticket.
I guess I just wanted to see if there was a clear political lesson you took from that moment and whether you think something applies in this kind of larger democratic rethink after. But I hear you. You're saying that you think it was a media problem. It was a branding problem. It was a candidate problem?
I didn't say that. The media had nothing to do with that 59%. If that 59% had been 69%, she would have won.
I guess, so is the argument that black people let Kamala Harris down?
Oh, in many instances, absolutely. If you don't show up to vote, what are you doing?
Is there no valid reason why black voters could not have felt heard by the last Democratic election? Is there no valid reason that they would have?
There might be. I'd like to know what it is.
My South Carolina viewers, man, y'all got to take this L with Jim Clyburn, man. Seriously. He really out here saying that it's your fault as black people. Dave, it's your fault. You didn't show up and vote for your girl, you know.
First of all, I would never have voted for Command Me because she's as bright as a broken light bulb in the back of a bargain basement, but that's neither here nor there. Let's stay focused. South Carolina is my ancestral home on my father's side, thus the name Anderson, as in Anderson, South Carolina. Having said that, and having spent a great deal of my childhood on dirt roads and outhouses, having boiled peanuts, you know, even though I'm a Philadelphian, you can't take the country out of me. However, none of the Andersons or the McPhails, which is my grandmother's side of that arm of my lineage, are stupid. And I ain't stupid neither. Now, Jim tap dancing, buck teeth showing, head and shoulders Clyburn. Real quick, I am not a Christian. I am a follower of Christ. As a result, he ain't through with me yet, but I work extra hard out of respect for you and Minister Dan's on the delicate sensibilities of Crystal, except for when she's on a date. I work really hard to be very, very kind and watch my language out here. But I'm perturbed. Wise, you already know my lived experience and my sensibility when it comes to James tap dancing, buck showing, Weeze Nose Joe Clyburn. But I'd like to point out some facts. And I challenge anybody to correct me on the facts. There are 50 states in the United States. Out of those 50 states, when it comes to reading comprehension and overall educational prowess, where do you think South Carolina lands?
They're probably in that bottom 40.
42nd. 42nd. I'm sorry. How long has Jim Clyburn been in office? I'm 49 years old this year. Jim Clyburn been there since like
early 90s, right?
Yeah. So when I was about 12 years old, so like 90, 91, this man's been there. So since before I got my first pimple, this man has been a boil on the behind of South Carolinians and Black Americans absolutely everywhere. Not to mention 92% of Black women and 80% of Black men voted. We're not the problem, but because he's an overpaid bumpkin who has his head firmly up his rear, he can't see straight. So for him to blame it on us. And here's the thing. I used to have a fundamental difference of opinion with my good friend Vince Everett Ellison, but he says, if you're a Black man specifically, and you're voting Democrat, you're gay. And I look at the people who interview Jim Clyburn, and with all due respect to the LGBT community, all I see are beta male simp manginas interviewing old, nasty, decrepit, on the take Democrat beta male simp manginas. Top of that list in South Carolina is Jim Clyburn, and I'm centered again.
I thought it was very humorous when he said, when he was asked, why Black people didn't vote for Kamala, and he said, I would like to know what it could be that could cause Black people to not vote for her. He said that with such eloquence. I mean, it's the best things he said. That was the clearest thing he said while he was talking. But if he wasn't so stupid, dishonest, and sleazy, he would know. The man tells you how dishonest he is, how reckless he is by the way he talks. And I think that we got you say this often, Wise. When people tell you who they are, you ought to believe them. When these people talk, they tell you exactly who they are every time they open their mouth. And and this is why I have a good time, I have fun talking with Black people, especially who are still Democratic. When I talk to them, I'm like, dude, sister, ma'am, you can't tell me that you can't see where they're coming from by the way they talk. So my question to you is, why are you not believing them when they say what they say? And the blank look on their face, this is why they argue so much. This is why they call people names and they go all off on in the left field. Because to have an intelligent conversation, they have to think. To have an intelligent conversation, they have to think. And in order to defend themselves, they have to be able to think. They can't do that. They're following a pattern that they're being given. So these people are very irrational. And many of these people do have intelligence. They just don't use it when it comes to the Democrats. And that's sad.
Minister Denzel, you are absolutely right. Actually, I'm going to push back just slightly. I don't think it's that they don't think. I don't think they know. So you can't have a conversation with people that will come out in the next statement and say, I don't know anything about policy. I don't know anything about these candidates. I just know, and you got people that are supporting the party, not because they believe in the Democratic Party. They're supporting them because they believe that the Republicans are racist. And that is it. That is it. So they haven't taken the next step to say, you know what? Because if you notice, we've talked about this. You start asking them questions. Well, what is the policy that? What policy are you know what I'm saying, more in line with? Especially when it came to Kamala Harris. They just were like, hey, you got to vote for the Black woman. That was it. When you started talking about the policy, they're like, policy? I don't know about no policy. I just know she Black. She went to an HBCU. She is a whatever sorority she was in, and she cooks her collard greens, and she washes them in the tub. She gets my vote. That's it.
You are correct. But Wise, I got to say that you are absolutely correct. But I'm saying that they come in many shades, though. There's no one size fits all with them. They covered the gambit on stupid. I mean, I would like to say that they're just as stupid in a certain area. Their group covers the gambit on stupid. So you can find any flavor of stupid Democrat, and they will fit anything that we say about them.
I mean, think about this. If you go on, especially because I like to lurk on TikTok. I'm not like Crystal. I'm not really to get in there and want to fight with folks on TikTok, but I do like to lurk. And when you read the comment section, of some of these videos with these, they are still lost in the sauce. They are so daggone delusional on that side of things, man. And it was like, man, we should have put that Black woman in there. And I'm like, when are y'all gonna realize? Well, first off, she's not even Black, but still voting for a person just because of the amount of melanin they have is stupid. It is stupid.
It's sad, man.
Y'all keep talking like y'all don't know these people are reprobates. Let's just call it what it is, because he sat here. You don't believe your eyes, don't believe your brain. Believe me when I speak. And we're not going to take any responsibility. We lack the understanding of accountability. Because the gentleman, soy boy, that asked him a question said to him, so you're just going to blame us? It's not anything else? And he's just like, yeah. He's basically saying it's y'all. He said, and the guy's like, you're not going to count Biden? He goes, well, Biden, he wasn't on the ticket, but Biden was on the ticket the entire time. What are you talking about? And then y'all threw in Kamala, whatever you want to call her. You put her, Skamala, that's what I call her, Skamala. They put her in the mix. And the thing is, people didn't vote for you because they see what y'all stand for and who you are. And instead of y'all just, buck up, figure out what y'all doing wrong and do better. No, y'all just going to keep trying to stuff things down. And then you're trying to guilt and gaslight Black America. That's literally what they're trying to do. Guilt and gaslight Black America and say, listen, y'all needed to get out there and vote. Why didn't y'all do that? So on and so forth. No, why don't y'all look yourselves in the mirror and figure it out yourselves? Problem is, they lie so much, they don't even know how to tell the truth anymore. That's just it. They lie so much, they don't know how to tell the truth. So they just keep lying and lying and lying. And then they lie and expect you to believe the lie. Nobody is falling for their foolishness. And listen, Mr. Steven from Django just needs to sit down and keep his mouth shut. That's what he needs to do.
Well, Wise, you hit it on the head. They will vote for anyone with melanin. Well, Jim Clyburn has a lot of it, and he's still at the bottom when it comes to being a good politician. Okay. All the melanin he got, and he's done absolutely nothing for people with melanin. So when I look at all of that, I say, what do people with melanin actually want? Jim Clyburn doesn't know. all the melanin in the world, he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, he
When
doesn't care either.
that is true. Two things can be true, and maybe three. But at the same time, the gentleman that was talking to him, posed good questions. You know, for a liberal, he actually posed good questions, and he said, "Well, I mean, uh, whose fault really is it?" And then he goes, "Well, it's your fault because 59% only came out, if 69%, sir, 92% of Black women voted for that woman. That's all. That's all. Okay, when they like to say, well, not all, no, it's all. It's all. Right? And so you have that, and then almost all came out for with Black men. So when you add all that together, it tells you that it's not enough. It's not enough. Yes, you have to appeal to white people. Okay. And white people are smart enough to split their vote. Okay. I get a little over here, get a little over here, even the illegals. Okay. Because they're voting. Even the illegals. They want to know what this person's going to do, this person's going to do, which is why you have the melanated politicians out here going to see them at the detention centers and things like that. I have never, and I do mean never in my lifetime, Jim Clyburn has been a politician longer than I have been alive. All right. I have never seen a politician go to a prison to talk to anybody melanated. I've never seen it. I've never seen it, but they go to these detention centers. They go here, there, and everywhere. They're fighting for certain policies to keep people that shouldn't even be here. Meanwhile, the people that have fought for this country, white and Black, okay, slaves, non-slaves, anybody that is a part of the American fabric, they don't fight for. So when he wonders why nobody wanted to vote for Kamala, it's because, one, nobody thinks she's Black. Two, nobody wants to hear about her and Dougie and those Greens. And three, they don't offer anything worth voting for.
Facts. Well, that's the thing. Democrats, especially older Democrats, they still believe that they own the Black vote. He didn't want to come out and say it. He didn't want to come out and say, well, it's Black men that are defecting from the Democrat Party. It's Black men that are waking up, because, I mean, they still overwhelmingly, Black folks did vote for Kamala, overwhelmingly. But women, it was 92%. I think the men was right at about 70%, if I'm not mistaken. So you had 30% of Black men that have decided to, nah, that ain't it. That's not the direction that we want to go. And when you look at the direction of the Democrat Party today, it's even worse than it was 2 years ago. When you look at the Democratic Socialists and that movement, you got Black folks out there talking about,
Right.
you know, generational wealth, and they want to start businesses and this, that, and the third. The DSA is not about that. You know, they want half a day. They want more than half a day's millions. They want more of his money. So, and you got more and more Black folks that are like, wait, I'm trying to get to this bag, or I am getting there. And now you mean to tell me you want me to support a party that wants to take more from me? Y'all crazy. So I believe that they know that play isn't going to work. And I don't think we're ever going to get to a point to where it's a 50-50 like some of the other demographics out there. But you get to a 60-40 type situation. You get to a true 35-75, which I think we were close in 24, almost a 35-75. When you look at, you know, the 30% of Black men, the 8% of Black women, they know that they're cooked.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say I dispute the numbers. First of all, Jim Clyburn was telling the truth about me. He's 100% right. I did not vote for Kamala. I voted, but I didn't vote for her. Now, that may have been the 59% that voted for Kamala. That does not necessarily mean that was the overall vote. I'd be very interested, because he's the only person whose statistics that I've seen that said only 59% of Black people voted overall. No, I don't think that's true. I think it's upward of 70. And I think you're right, Wise, in that the rest is what voted for Trump or voted for Republicans. And that's the part they're not discussing. I've never heard almost in any election in modern times that only 59% of Black people voted in the national election. That is oddly low. So I think somebody, first of all, I'm not saying he is a soy boy. I'm not saying that the interviewer is effeminate, or as Vince Everett Ellis says, I'm not saying he is gay because I don't know him, but I can say he did a very soft interview.
Yeah.
Because the first thing he should have asked was, where does this number come from? Nobody has ever heard of this number in the last 50 years. Where did you dig this number up? And maybe there is some internal Democrat information that they have that said it was only 59% of blacks. So my question is, well, then who made up the rest of the Democrat voters that voted? Well, I mean, maybe they told you the truth about the money stealing. Maybe that is exactly, I mean, not the money stealing, the ballot stealing. Maybe that is. Maybe he actually slipped and told us something, but someone should look into that. And certainly, unfortunately, the interviewer didn't either know enough or have enough courage to push back on that, because he tried to saying, are you saying that there is no other reason why blacks were disillusioned with the Democrat Party? He also mentioned the administration of Joe Biden. The way to handle an interview is to give people exact examples. You don't have to say, let Clyburn come up with all the ways black people could have been disillusioned. If you're familiar with that, you mention it. You say, these are the ways black people reported being disillusioned. What do you have to say to that? So the interview for me was exactly like most of these interviews are when they're Democrat on Democrat, which was just a soft love fest. And good for them. I'm glad they have it. And Clyburn can spend all of his time talking about 59% or whatever number he's currently making up. But the fact of the matter is that his district is between 20 to 25% below the state and national income medians, and has been for more than 30 years. So he has been in leadership in the Congress. He has had the ability to put set-asides and earmarks for his district, and he's a highly influential Democrat politician. However, none of that has been able to translate to move his district from among the lowest and the poorest districts. It's described as persistently poor, meaning not occasionally poor, not poor for a period of time, persistently poor in South Carolina for 30 years. So to me, people should be talking to Clyburn about why that is the case. Why is the poverty that he presides over so persistent and so difficult to get rid of and so difficult to mitigate? He never, ever is asked anything like that. He's always asked about, and I say this all the time, Democrats govern nationally. They only talk nationally because their failures are always local, and national is the ideal. So they want to focus on the ideal, but not on their reality. They need to turn the tables. And whenever we are talking, particularly with Democrats who are in elected power and in elected leadership, and focus on what have you done for me lately? Look at what they are doing locally and not these nationalist, grandiose, Marxist ideals that they want to achieve. You've had 30 years to achieve anything. Just tell us, what was it?
I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts about any of this? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family, or you can buy your brother a coffee, or you can hit that Cash App. The link's in the description box below. I appreciate you guys that support what we're doing over here. You can also go over to the ARP family merch store, pick you up something, over there. Minister Danzel has these Stupid on Steroids t-shirts. We also have the Pray Don't Worry t-shirts and hoodies over there as well. I appreciate you guys supporting what we're doing over here. And as always, keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, he gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, fear can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. Then the Lord hit my chest, kicked air from my breath, put power in my step.